Hey, what's happening? Tim with Nomad Trading. What's up, guys? Been a minute since I've done a live stream. Thought I'd jump on here. Gonna head over to my little brother's house and actually do some work trying to get his house ready to sell in this crazy housing market. But I thought I'd jump on here first just because I haven't been on here in a while. Maybe some of my peeps will be in here and can say what's up. I just kind of missed talking to some of my subscribers and seeing how you guys are doing. So I thought I'd jump in here and talk about what's moving this morning. The opening bell just rang 10 minutes ago, so we're really just getting started. There was a few active ones this morning pre-market, but they tanked. As you can see up here in the corner, I've lost almost $90, so small loss on the day so far. That was due to abandoning my trades. Wanted to get out of it before the bell rang because I had a feeling they were going to go south. So I'll show you the couple that I was in. BLIN, this one I was in. It came up to the high of day, previous high of day here, and then looked like it was getting stuffed. I took a position on that, expecting it might break out and really fly, kind of up here in no man's land on the daily chart, but instead it was just kind of moving sideways, pulling back. And if you watch the channel very much or know me, then you know that I don't hold through the opening bell hardly ever, unless things are looking really strong. So when it failed to break out and was looking like it was kind of going sideways, that's a situation. You can see it here on the 1 minute. It looked like it might be a nice cup and handle, but then as it didn't curl up, that's the point at which I'm jumping out because it's going into the opening bell. If it wasn't going into the opening bell, I might not have, but you can see this little curl here and how it failed on this 1 minute right here, and that leading into the opening bell is a no-go for me. That's when I'm jumping out. I'm not going to hold that through the bell. It's just a coin toss on whether or not it goes up or down. So if you're new to trading, that's a good little tip for you. If you're holding through the bell in a scenario like this, it's pretty much a coin toss if it's going to go up or down. So to me, it's best to just get out of the way as a scalper. I'm trying to minimize risks and minimize losses, keep the losses as small as possible, and that's really how you become a successful trader. I would say the biggest key to turning the corner. Everybody always says like, hey, when do you turn the corner? What was a key turning point in your trading, going from big losses to starting to become a profitable trader? And that's what I would say. The key is when you stop having gigantic losses. That's a major thing. You got to learn to keep your losses small, so that way your winners aren't wiped out by 1 day of losses. Almost every trader's got the same story of how for years they would have a string of green days wiped out by 1 or 2 big red days. It just seems to be kind of like the story that everybody goes through. So eventually you burn your hand on the hot stove enough times that you stop having the giant red days and wiping out your green days, and start turning the corner. BLIN moving this morning. This is, like I said, this is one that I've been watching now. It's broke down on the chart, so it's not really interesting at this point to me, other than maybe a bounce play, or if it comes back up and breaks above VWAP and starts ripping back to the upside, showing a lot of strength, then maybe. But the chart is just kind of broke down at this point. It's not looking very good. So yeah, it's kind of sad. I was excited about that one. It's traded 29 million shares already with only 14 minutes after the bell. So I was hoping for even bigger things out of that one, but so far not really. Just tanked out of right at the bell. And then the other one that I was in did the exact same thing. MRIN. This one, same deal, where I was in this as it started to curl up. I think it was right here when it had this nice couple of green candles, broke through the 50 moving average, and I thought that might be the time when it comes up. I also traded it right here, the breakout past pre-market high as it curled up right here. I took the trade right here, planning on it continuing up. It failed, so when it got down here and broke that trend line, that was a no-go after that, because it kind of broke my overall uptrend for pre-market. And then moving sideways, like I said, I took another trade on it where I thought it might curl up here, but it ultimately got stuffed at the same level that it's been stuffed at a few times before. Broke down, and then as it's moving sideways, coming into the opening bell, which was right here, definitely not going to be holding that again through the opening bell. Yeah, not taking unnecessary risks like that, so I just get out of it, take the small loss. So I'm down about 90 bucks at this point. Now I'm just looking for any solid trade. And on MRIN, we're up. This thing was in the we're in the ones. Yeah, it was like $1.65 a couple of weeks ago, and we're trading in the 20s. So you got to keep that in mind on a day like today, when we're trading sideways going in the opening bell. It's definitely in the back of my mind that this thing was in the $1.50 range a couple weeks ago. So we're trading way up in the stratosphere. You got to have that in the back of your mind, that when you got a stock that's that overbought and that crazy high, at some point there's going to be some major selling taking place. Yeah, so it just becomes a little bit more risky. It's all about putting the pieces together of the puzzle like that, where minimizing risk and putting everything together, and you're up that high over the last couple of weeks. It's more likely to go down in this sideways situation going into the opening bell than it is to go up. So it is what it is. If you're watching this, make sure you hit the like button. I want to get a few more people in here, and that only happens if you hit the like button when you tune in, and then we get it pushed to a few more people on YouTube, and then we can get a little bit of a conversation going in the chat over here. And if not, that's cool too, but I thought I'd jump on here and say what's up to my subscribers, anybody that's up and trading this morning. So if you're trading and you see this, jump in the chat and say what's up. I miss chatting with you guys, and tell me what you're looking at this morning, if there's anything you're watching. I apologize for not being bigger into my YouTube channel. I've been kind of slacking with it. Enjoying trading. I just really love the trading aspect. So I haven't been making as many YouTube videos, but I need to get back into it. So trying to do that whenever I get the chance. Stream live, see what's moving. Let's see what else we had here. Tesla. Almost went short in Tesla, and now I'm wishing I had, because it looks like it's down pretty big. Let's see what this thing looks like. Yeah, selling off pretty big. 682 down to 665. So yeah, it's a decent sell-off. It's lost over 2% already just in the last 18 minutes. So kind of wishing I had taken that short. OCGN, this one, I'm not a fan of OCGN. I've got some buddies of mine in a little chat that we talk about stocks, and they're kind of bigger fans of OCGN than I am. I rag on it a lot. I'm not a big fan of it. It's had some big moves. I can see, they made some big money on it back in these crazy days here, but I don't know. It just seems like it loves to pop up and then fade big. It'll have a big move up like it did right here, just ripping up, and then it kind of fades down. It actually held a little better now that I'm looking at it. Held a little better than I expected on that, but typically with this stock, it'll rip up and then it'll come like all the way back down, or almost all the way back down, get back most of its gains. So I don't know. It's a frustrating stock. It's got me several times when I've tried to trade breakouts. It really enjoys faking you out, or kind of like this. This would be somewhat of a bull flag or a bull pennant, and then it breaks down. It just loves to break my heart, I guess. It's a difficult stock to trade. Doesn't follow the traditional patterns a lot of the time. Let's see what else. Is there anything else? So this is why the overall market sold off. So that's why a lot of the stocks, MRIN, BLIN, all those stocks, they tend to follow the market. Hey, what's up, Sailing SV Salacia? Hey, SV Salacia. That's cool. Cool name. I like that. I'm a big fan of. This probably has nothing to do with your name, but I'm a big fan of Deadliest Catch, and shipping the shipping vessels and all that stuff is so cool to me. No idea if you're a fisherman or if it has anything to do with you, but I just saw your name, think it's cool. I know FV is fishing vessel, I believe. What's SV? Maybe that's a stupid question. I'll check out Vissel. Okay. So the overall, just to finish that thought real quick. So this is why 3 out of 4 stocks, roughly. Some say about 80%, but the idea is roughly 3 out of 4 stocks follow the market. So when you get the market selling off pretty big like this, it stuffed. It tried to spike at the opening bell and then stuffed back down, faked everybody out, and started selling off. And now it's popping, but it can't hold it. Didn't break VWAP, selling back down. So that would be the problem with most of these stocks, is that they're following the market. When the market starts selling off like that, then it ends up stuffing the runs of the stocks that we're watching. The Momentum World stocks end up getting stuffed too if they're on that line. You'll have a few that buck the trend typically, but overall most of them, more often than not, will follow the market. Ooh, you're right, VISL is making some moves. My phone keeps going off, I apologize for that. Let's see. So I'm interested in it over 339. That'd be what I'm looking at now. I wouldn't mind maybe taking a position here. It's just a little bit more of a coin toss, because it seems like the daily resistance is at that 339. Let's see, yeah, 340 area. But once it curls past that, it's kind of overall having a nice little curl pattern. And then once it passes that, then looks like there's more room to the upside. So definitely one to watch, and it could be one to take a position on now. It's overall kind of got this flag type pattern that I love so much. So that's a good find, a good one to watch. Let's see how we're kind of having this somewhat of a wedge forming here, and that's my favorite pattern. You see it on all different charts. Sometimes they're bull pennants where it's up at the top. Sometimes you'll see a wedge, just above VWAP, or lots of different time frames, wedges forming, and then when it breaks out of those wedges to the upside, that's a good spot to go long. And then you hopefully it develops and continues on. Now she's starting to break up a bit, so that's good. Let's see, we got about 4 million shares, so the volume's not too bad. Not a ton of volume, but not too bad. No news today. I'd like to see a catalyst. If there is a catalyst, it's not showing it on my E-Trade platform anyway. Ideally, you have a catalyst. You can have a breakout, and it can move up just based on technicals alone, but I do like having a catalyst if possible. You find a lot more strength when you got a catalyst. You're a lot less likely to get stuffed. So now we're coming back up to near those high of day areas. See if it can break that. So yeah, could add an entry down here just above VWAP as it was trying to break out of that wedge. The question is, can it hold it? And this is what you'll possibly, I don't know what's going to happen here. We'll see. But if it gets stuffed down too far, it's what happens whenever you don't have a ton of volume and you don't have a catalyst. So the technical patterns, it may still play out. It just may take more to develop it. But a lot of times you see stocks get stuffed a lot more often when there's not a catalyst. And maybe there is, and I just don't see it on here. That happens a lot. E-Trade's not the best. Sailing vessel, cool. Also, let me know if you can hear my music or if it's too loud or anything like that. Anybody that checks this out, because I've just got some copyright-free, crappy music playing in the background, so it's not just boring, dead silence. What else is moving here? Let's see. Let's check the old chart here. SQBG has been halted twice, it looks like. Now this is oh man, I almost grabbed this a little while ago. Now I'm really wishing I had. This is a bunch of crap, by the way, right here. Thanks a lot, E-Trade, for being glitchy. So you'll see this a lot on E-Trade's platform, or at least I see it on mine a lot. I don't know if other people do or if it's just me, but on my platform, especially if a stock is halted, when I click on that stock and type it in and pull up the charts, I'll see this big red candle or big green candle or some kind of gigantic candle that does not actually represent where the stock is. So the stock's not there. It's just a big glitch on my platform for whatever reason. As you can see, the bid and the ask are up in the 20s, so it's not, the stock's not at 1073. Super annoying, but it's been halted several times. It looks like it got halted at 20 bucks and halted again up here at 24-ish, and then halted again right here at 25-ish. So maybe it did get halted on the way down, it's looking like, but it's not down at 1073, I don't think. I mean, maybe it is, but typically when I see this, it's my E-Trade platform being stupid. And then whenever some trades start going through on the level 2 over here, then we'll see where the stock actually is and the chart will catch up to where it is. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Super annoying. Happens a lot with E-Trade, at least on mine. Hi-Ho's another one that's been halted. Let's check that out. So that's one that's kind of curling up. Let's see, we got 1.66 million float on Hi-Ho, so teeny tiny float on Hi-Ho. Interesting. Yeah, so that one could have some further upside. I'm not seeing a catalyst, so not going to be huge on that either. Let's see where we're at on VISL. So yeah, we did end up getting stuffed on that. That's what I was worried about. If you don't have news, like I said, sometimes they get stuffed, but it is as of now kind of holding this uptrend. So that would be the positive thing. If you're looking for positive things about the stock, if you're in it right now, then I would say as long as it's holding that, wouldn't be too worried. And if you're swing trading it, you're not in a terrible way as of now. It's still holding this overall curl up move, so not a big worry if you're a swing trader. I'm not a swing trader. I'm just a scalper, so not too terribly interested in this at this point. You could take a trade right now, kind of off this trend line, but there you're seeing now that it may break down even further. It doesn't have a ton of volume, doesn't have catalysts that I see offhand, so very well comes back down here to this lower 3 level where this consolidation is. Doesn't mean it won't keep going on the swing side of things, but for day trading and scalping, not my cup of tea at the moment. I'd like to see a little bit more range in the stock too than what we got here. So Let's see what we got. MRIN continuing to fade. So definitely glad I got out of that. This is why I said you got to cut losses quickly. Had I still held this stock, and this is where new traders, through no fault of their own, if you don't know, the more seat time you have, the more you develop as a trader, the more you know. And when you get started, you'll find yourself holding through open, then it drops big, then you're hoping it is going to bounce. It starts to bounce, but you don't get out when it hits the VWAP there because you don't want to take the loss, and then it continues to fade. And on a stock like this that's up from $1.50, $1.60 all the way up in the mid-20s, that can be a dangerous game. You don't want to hold this too long because it's very possible this goes back down in the teens. So be careful with that if you're holding that. There's nothing that says that this stock has to bounce back up here near 28 bucks. It might, but it might also continue to fade over the coming days back into the teens. So be careful with that if you're holding that. Let's see. BL, no, that was another one. BSQR. I'm not sure why that came up when I typed in BLIN, but whatever. So let's see what we got here. On the daily chart, huge move and then fading back down. Now we got another move up. So this is another one where it's kind of coming into this level of resistance here, and it's got a history of big move then fading back down. So that in mind, it's possible this keeps fading down. Makes me not as excited about taking a big position in this, and it's kind of got stuffed so far today. So, and like I said, it's also has to do with the overall market. When the overall market's heading down, as of right now, we're making new lows for the day. That's going to stuff these stocks that we want to see move up. So this stock might be primed for a big rip and then get stuffed down because the overall market's going down. So that's unfortunate. It's traded 33 million shares on the day, so big volume on it. And it could very, very possibly head up more. It's one to watch. SQBG was the other one that was getting halted. Yeah, see, this is the one I was showing you where E-Trade was glitching and it was down at 10 bucks on this chart if you saw that on E-Trade. But in reality, the stock's still up here in the 20s. No news that I saw on that. That's why I didn't buy it. I was watching it a little bit ago and was thinking about taking a trade out of this first halt. I saw the halt and I thought, I'd take a first trade, but not really a whole lot of time to get in. This thing, as you can see, just ripped up in 1 minute and got halted again. So not a lot of time to jump in, and then you'd have to be hot on it to jump out after the next halt, or else you'd end up down here losing money. So these halt plays are super sketchy. You got to be very careful with them and trade them with super small size, or you can end up really losing a lot of money quick. Been there, done that, and sometimes they don't come back. Sometimes they bounce, sometimes they just come all the way back down where they started, especially when there's no obvious news in them. So be super careful with that. Mr. X, what's up? Charts watcher marked out. Oh yeah. Let's see what the float is on that one too. Let's see, we got so SQBG is the one with 1.6 million float, and Hi-Ho is the one with it's got 4 million float. So both of those that are getting halted, they're just tiny floats. That's what's going on with them. You get a super tiny float. That's what you get. You get an insane move like that. This thing's got a 1.6 million float, which means there's just a teeny amount of shares available. So supply and demand, if you get that thing a little bit of volume, and a stock like that can just fly. Absolutely tiny volume. It's traded its entire float several times now. So insane. That's where the move comes from. If you're curious how you can have a stock go from $17 to $28 in a matter of minutes, well, that's how. Super tiny float. Let's see what else we had. Is there anything going on really? This just seems like the market's. This is going to probably be a short live stream because the selling off of the market is killing everything at the moment. And I need to get over to my little brother's house and help him get his house ready to sell, because today I think is his last day to get it ready. So I gotta go help him out. Got a lot of stuff to do. Also gotta mow my lawn, all those wonderful things. So I don't overstay my welcome with the market. If the market is fading and there's not a ton of Momo plays that I see with news and decent setups, and the overall market is selling off and killing those moves, those are the days to take that $90 loss and just walk away. I did it Friday as well. Friday was a $170 loss. I believe I was down 170. And, you know, the old Tim would have stayed all day. And sometimes I'm still guilty of this, but I would have stayed all day trying to make something happen, trying to get that money back, because you hate to end the day with a loss, with a red day. You want to turn it green. So the old Tim would have stayed all day trying to find trades, and a lot of times you can, but more often than not, you'll just turn it into a larger red day. If the stocks aren't moving and things aren't going in your way, and the momentum world is not heating up and it's not following through, you're not getting the moves, the setups are not having good follow through, you'll just end up getting stuffed a lot and having fake outs. Which leads to losses. So you don't want to do that, and I'm trying to get better at that, trying not to just stay all day, trying to turn that into a green day. I'm trying to get better at just walking away, taking that $170 loss Friday, taking a $90 loss today, and living to fight another day. I've been averaging $100 to $300 a day in profit over the last month and a half. If you average out my green days, they've been overall, I've been green on average of $100 to $300 a day. So knowing that, I need to keep that in the back of my mind and move on, not spend the whole day chasing that. Just know that there's going to be better days, and as long as I keep these red days small, I can move forward. So it's kind of the plan as of now. It's looking like I'm not going to hang out here too long with the market fading, stuff getting shot down left and right in the Momo world. Just not that exciting so far. Just kind of bloody. Nothing as of now is sticking out as a huge move to the upside. There's VISL, like I was worried, you know, that it would come back down here to this consolidation range, and sure enough it has. It's back down in the 320s. So unfortunately did not work out. I hope that Mr. Sailing SV, I hope you're not in that right now, or if you are, that it's just a swing play and that maybe you're okay. I'm not an expert in swing trading. Hell, I'm not an expert in any trading at all, but I'm definitely not an expert in swing trading. So I won't pretend to give a whole bunch of swing trading advice. I focus on scalping. I'd love to be better at swing trading, but it seems like every time I try it, it doesn't work out for me. I'm just not very good at it. Not good at the holding. When it starts going red on me, I want to cut it. And that came from years of having losses and then slowly learning now to cut losses quickly in order to stay green and become a profitable trader. I've got to cut losses quickly, and it kind of goes against all that with swing trading. When I take a position in swing trading, I inevitably have to hold it through downside, and it just seems like every time I enter a position, I've got to hold through some downside to get to the green side, and it goes against my nature and everything I'm trying to build to cut losses quickly when I gotta hold through these big red days. So I just suck at swing trading, and I think that's pretty much why. I don't have the mentality of it after trying to train my brain not to hold through red, and you kind of have to do that a lot of times. Oh, let's see what we got. Is there anything really going on? This one, okay. This one's interesting here. Kind of forming a little pattern I like. It's not, kind of maybe a 5-minute pattern, but let's see what we got here. We're coming up on that top right there. I assume that's what the issue is at the moment, is this previous high right here and the daily chart. Let's see where we're at on the daily chart. Zoom in a little bit more. As of right now, this is really the only play I'm seeing as a possibility. So we've got the high of day of $6 to contend with, and we've got on the daily chart looks like around 625, 618, 625. Yeah, so basically $6 and just above $6. There's a lot of different points of possible resistance. I think that would be why it's having trouble here, because typically you would see this rip up. So between the market selling off and between the possible resistance on the daily chart, I think that's why we're seeing it have a little trouble. If you look at the candles here on the 1-minute chart, you got lots of wicks here where it's tried in the same area to break out, and then it gets stuffed back, and that would be why. So once we get maybe past 586 or so, maybe we will see it head back and test 6 again. The reason I'm not taking a trade here, and I am tempted right here to take a trade, but with the market selling off and with the daily chart the way it is, I just think it's a little bit higher risk. I think if it just seems heavy. So maybe you could scalp it up to 6, but then I'd be worried that it gets stuffed at 6. We had a hard stuff right there at 6 already. So as far as today goes, this is the most promising stock I'm seeing, but even it seems a little bit heavy right now. It just seems like it's got a lot of potential to drop and a little less potential to rip up as of right now, but we'll see. Hopefully it's going to buck the trend and go up and fly, and it might, but every little tick, if you just watch it, it's not making the jumps you want to see. I'd much rather see it ripping off 10 cents, 15 cents at a time real quick, and it seems like every penny or two is a pretty big fight. If it can break the $6, maybe we'll see it start ripping more. If it can get above some of these resistance area on the daily chart, then the potential might be there to get shorts cover and get it really flying. But again, it's probably the most interesting thing I see right now with almost 40 million shares traded. It just seems heavy, and again, it happened again. It hit 6, and then it real quick was right back down here in the 580s. So I'd be bailing on this if I was in it, so I'm glad I didn't take the trade, because if I was in the trade and saw it go up and touch 6 and then come back down right back in the 580s, I'd be getting a little nervous. Sometimes that proceeds, not always, it could still recover, but sometimes a move like that, when you've already been rejected and then it curls back up and you have all these candle wicks and it looks kind of heavy, sometimes, more often than not, that precedes a big drop, where it's going to go back and test VWAP. So we'll see what happens. That may not be the case here. It may keep going. I hope it does, because everything else seems pretty boring at the moment. But yeah, that's the risk of taking the trade now. That's why I'm not going to take a trade now. Boom, 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 boom. See what happens though. Love to see it break off 6 and just start ripping. Got the trusty A&W root beer here to start the morning off right. My voice is low and scratchy right now for some reason. Oh, come on. My voice is always low, but this morning it seems extra scratchy. Testing again. Can it do it? Can it get... Come on, baby. I want to see it rip through there, and I feel a little more confident. It has scratched its way back up there to test 6 again, but I just don't see the strength so far like I would like to see. Let's zoom out a bit, see what we see on the 5-minute chart, but zoomed out a bit more. So we're not really hitting a major level of resistance on this chart. I think it's more just the daily and the intraday. Again, though, I mean, see, we're having the same situation. It hits $6, gets rejected, back in the 580s again. Not showing the strength we really want to see. BSQR. I'd say this is kind of the bell of the ball today, but again, it's just not. Yeah, see, here's the drop where we're falling back down. We'll see what happens. Can it hold the overall curl of things? I'm hoping that it can. It's still going to be, you know, I'm not seeing anything that's too exciting as far as the patterns that I look for. So I may end up calling it a short day anyway. But so far this is the one I like the most. It's just not providing a solid setup at the moment. The highest watch, let's see, KVSB is what Sailing SV mentioned. Let's see what we got here. So a decent gap up. Zoom in a little more. 10 million shares, so it does have some volume. It's got a bit of volume, kind of holding an overall uptrend. Breakout past 1045, and yeah, are we up at 1050? Looks like 1050 would be possible resistance there, and above that, doesn't look like there's anything. So, kind of a bizarre chart on the daily chart. You could make a play off the overall uptrend, perhaps. Let's see what the overall, yeah. So you can kind of just play off the overall uptrend and use that to risk off of. As long as it holds that uptrend, you're good. That would be a possibility to buy kind of as it's testing. You may not get a full test of 1044. It may just test this low here. Not a pattern I really love, so I mean I'm not going to say that there's a solid pattern here really, but it is holding an overall uptrend. So that is a strategy. Some people like stocks like that are just kind of steadily creeping up, and buy that, hold it, and risk off of the overall trend level. If it breaks that, you sell, and if not, you hold it and let it creep up. So if that was the case and you like that setup, this would be a good time to buy, because it's pulling back and it's kind of testing that low right there, the peak there, the peak here, kind of all in that same 1048, 1050 area, and you got the resistance here on the daily, if you want to call it that. Not big volume or anything, but that would be at 1050. So gets back over 1050, maybe it holds that the rest of the day, creeps up. It's a possibility. It's kind of one of those that you know, more of a swing type of thing, where you buy it and then you just set your stop below the trend line and then kind of walk away from it and let it do its thing throughout the day. There's been times where I've bought stocks like that and made money on them. Just if I was leaving for the day or couldn't really trade, there's been times where I've bought stocks kind of like this and just bought a really small position with small risk, set a stop below the trend line and just kind of let it ride for the day, come back and been up $100 on it or something. Nothing major, but you know, profit's profit. So it's an idea. What happened with BUSQR? Let's see. So we're still hanging around there. No big drop. Still hanging around. They ain't doing anything. None of them are. I'm not. Do I have any days where I don't trade at all? I do. It's not too often, but yeah, I take days off. There's days where I get into the market. There's days where I come into the market pre-market, or sometimes there's times where I oversleep. Like any job, there's times where I oversleep, and by the time I wake up, there's nothing really going on, or I don't see anything. Pre-market, there's times where I log in pre-market and I don't see anything moving at all, and if that's the case, I just, you know, move on with my day. That's the wonderful thing about being a trader. You know, that's one of the joys of it, is that you get to do what you want. So if you stay married to your screen 24/7, no matter what, even on days that are slow and there's nothing going on and you're not seeing your patterns, if you stay married to your screen all day on those days, then what's really the point of being a trader? I mean, yeah, there's tons of income potential, there's upside to it, but I'm just saying, you know, I think that that's one of the plus sides of trading and trading from home, is if there's a day where I don't see any setups or any patterns I like and nothing's really moving, then that's a day that I can go spend time with my kids, or go work on the house, or, you know, whatever the case may be. There's other things to do, and that's a day to do those things. And then whenever the market's hotter, those are the days that I sit from pre-market all the way through after hours and, you know, put in the 13-hour day. Sometimes even more than that. There's a lot of times I get up and look at the market at 3 a.m. I'm Central Time, so 3 a.m. is when you can start seeing stocks moving. Sometimes I'll do that, and I'll be up, you know, from 3 a.m. all the way until the end of post-market. And then there's other times where nothing's going on, that I'm pieced out and spending my day doing other things. And this day is looking like it's going to be one of those days. I'm down $90. Probably just going to call that a day shortly here and move on. I was blabbing here. If I wasn't blabbing, I would have probably tried a bounce here off of VWAP, because we had the lows here on the 5-minute chart, and we had on the 1 minute, this is the 1 minute chart, you had a big area of consolidation in this range right here. So the lows of that around the 560s, upper 560s, coincide with the 50 moving average and the VWAP right here. So that's a good spot to take a bounce try. So could still do it right now, but I'm thinking that I won't. This thing just seems heavy to me. So, and it doesn't look like it's going to have a big bounce. It might, we'll see, but so far anyway. I like a bigger crash, and then you know, kind of a exaggerated, oversold, huge crash that I can buy. Yeah, see, now it's selling off more as expected. So yeah, the bounce play not looking like it was going to work at that point. Now I'd be probably looking down here. I'm not going to trade this, I don't think. I don't like it enough. But and I don't want to, you know, get a larger loss, a larger red day. Just trying to swing at something. So I'm probably going to let this go. But you could try a small position on the bounce here, and it might work. A lot of times when you have a bigger sell-off down to the VWAP and then it breaks and then kind of holds, then the bounce kind of comes after, a little bit of a delayed bounce. But at this point, probably coming down here, and the next bounce area would be around the 200 moving average, because you got the 200 moving average, which is this whitish line that I've got on my chart here, and you've got this area of support here. So that would probably be the next spot for a bounce if it gets down that far. We'll see. If it bounces here, that would be better for the stock overall, because it would mean that it's, you know, holding somewhat of an uptrend and maybe could recover. But the chart just doesn't look the best at the moment. So, and on the daily chart, like I said, you got the daily chart, not ideal either, and that's part of the problem between the overall market and the daily chart. That's killing that stock. Overall market is still selling off. This is SPY, which is an S&P 500 ETF, still selling off. We've sold off ever since the morning bell, which was right here. It's been nothing but selling off all morning. So not a huge sell-off, because we're only down not even 0.5% as of right now, but it is selling off, and that caps the stocks. The momentum plays that we want to see end up getting capped. Now it's looking more like the bounce could be here. So now what you could do is you could try taking a position now, and then you set your stop just below the lows of this move right here. Because when you see these candle wicks on the bottom, that means that it's getting kind of bought up on the drops. So that means that it could be ready to bounce here. It's a place you could take a trade, and then you would set your stop just below, maybe at 549 would be a good spot to set your stop, just below that, if you're trying to scalp a little bounce play. But I wouldn't probably recommend a bounce at this point, because we're below VWAP, we're below the 50. The overall market's fading, so if you put all the pieces together of the puzzle, it just means that it's more of a risky play and less likely to have a decent bounce. So putting the pieces together of the puzzle, I'm not going to take a trade on it, and that would be the reason why. Let's see, is there anything else going on? I don't know why my chart watcher is not squawking at me when things are getting halted like it should be. Hi-ho, quite the choppy, strange chart happening there. Let's see what else we got. BSQR, that wasn't it, was it? No. MRIN was one I've been watching and traded this morning, still breaking down. BLIN was another one. Let's see how it's doing. Yeah, again fading. So if you notice the overall trend, it's because the market is selling off and fading. So then you see the momentum stocks fading, unfortunately. So days like this, it's just a good day to walk away. Down 90 bucks pre-market, it is what it is. Don't like to be losing money or having red days, but I'd rather just walk away than I would sit here all day and spend the entire day looking for something to turn around and something to make that money back on a day when the market overall is fading and all the momentums are being capped by that market fade. So as of right now, I'm not seeing anything that's super exciting. Let's see, NLST is up big, but I'm thinking that one is, yeah, look at that. That thing's crazy. From $2 up to $5.71 over the last several days. So it's got a nice stair-stepping, pumpy looking move. Level 2 is blank for some reason. Okay, E-Trade. That's awesome. It's going to have a blank level 2 there. So yeah, I'm not really seeing SQBG. That was the other one I wanted to see that was getting halted over and over. So this one only traded 6.4 million shares, but the float is only, what did I say it was? 1.6, yeah, 1.67 million shares. So the float is very tiny. So I'm tempted to almost, before I leave, just take a small position on this and walk away, because sometimes these are the stocks that, if it keeps going, I wouldn't be surprised to see this back up in the $28 range just because of the size of the float, if it keeps having a decent amount of volume coming in. But I won't. I'll resist the urge to do that, because I'm not going to sit here and watch it. So I'm gonna get off of here and go do other things and help my little brother out on his house. Not seeing anything I like a whole lot anyway, but this could be a move at this point. If I wasn't heading out, could maybe take a small trade here and see if it bounces, but it would just be kind of a shot in the dark type of trade. I don't even see any news on it or any real catalyst. It's just up, I think, because it has an itty bitty little tiny float. So yeah. BSQR, gonna check that one more time. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, so that would have been as predicted. It came down here to that 200 moving average. Not to toot my own horn, but it's not me. It's just that these things are predictable. That's how traders make money, is by learning overall how to predict things and probabilities of things. And the probability was, if it broke below VWAP, that it would probably come down here to the 200, and that might be the next spot it might make a move, because of the 200 coinciding with the level of support over here. That would be the spot of a possible bounce. So far not a very big bounce. I guess a little over 10 cents at the moment, so that wouldn't have been a big win so far, but I'm gonna guess, yeah, there we go. Now we're talking. I was gonna say I bet it goes back and tests VWAP, which is at 561 at right now. So, and it just did. So it would have ended up being a decent little, almost 20 cent move. So not a bad little bounce play had I been watching it and took that trade. Anyway. Now we'll see. I'm not going to sit here and watch it. I would guess that it's going to end up getting rejected either at VWAP or maybe up here a little bit above VWAP, but you never know. Maybe this thing rips and keeps going. It's got almost 50 million shares traded, so you never know. Stranger things have happened. So it could happen. It could keep going, could really rip up and fly. I'm not going to sit here and watch it, because I'd say the probability is that it does not, and that it gets stuffed and then fades more. That being said, I'm going to get off of here. Thank you all. If you see this video at any point in time, you like what you see, make sure you hit the like, subscribe if you haven't already. I certainly appreciate it. My family appreciates it, and make a little bit of money off the YouTube channel. Not very much, but a little bit, and it's nice. So very cool. Appreciate it if you do that. And hopefully this helped some of you out, at least one or two of you in some way. And I'll be back to do it again, possibly in the morning, and maybe we'll have a little bit more exciting stuff going on, or this evening. Whenever the market heats up, I'll be back. So awesome. You have a great day too. And Sailing said took 200 shares at 550. Watch it for another 20 minutes or so. Yeah, if it can hold above, I think that you got fairly well defined risk. I mean, it depends how much risk you want to have. There's a lot of consolidation there, so it's not really looking terrible until it breaks below all that consolidation. But you could set a pretty tight risk and just set it below that 200 there, or below this low, which would be below the 200 and below this low here. If it holds above that, maybe it makes a move up higher. It does have good volume, like I said, so you never know. But if I was going to predict things, I'd say it's going to fade more. But I don't see anything wrong with taking a stab at it in this area where there's possible support and seeing what happens. So good luck to you on that, my friend. Thanks for watching and chatting, you guys. Probably be back in the morning, as long as there's something going on and and I'm around and trading. So talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.